This first report is detailing all 4 of the interceptions Ryan Tannehill has thrown so far in training camp. This report comes from Armando Salguero of the Miami Herald. Of those 4 interceptions, 3 happened on passes that were either tipped or hit a receiver in the hands and popped up in the air when it was not caught cleanly. And the 4th receiver, Jarvis Landry, either cut off his route or ran a wrong route, so only a defender was there. The receiver and the ball were supposed to meet. The Dolphins early in this camp have been purposely extending the boundaries of what is safe and what they know works to see if they find something previously undiscovered. In other words, Tannehill has been told by Adam Gase to try to throw into windows he probably wouldn't be exploring in games. So Adam is basically telling Ryan to be more of a gunslinger, take more chances, try to squeeze it in the smallest hole you possibly can. And, that's something we haven't really seen from Tannehill, is that Derek Carr, Brett Favre mentality. Sometimes you just got to take a shot and give your offensive playmakers a chance. So that's all they've been doing in practice. And like Armando's report detailed, all of the interceptions had their own mishap. Like all of those interceptions were tipped, except the one Jarvis Landry one that Michael Thomas picked off in team drills, where it was just a miscommunication. So if you hear anybody saying, "Oh, Tannehill's thrown 4 interceptions so far in training camp," they're not giving you they're just not giving you the context of what the Dolphins are trying to do in training camp. This next report is on the Miami Dolphins' run defense, and this report comes from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. It's too soon to know if the Dolphins' run defense, which tied for last in the league in yards per carry, is better, but early signs in training camp are encouraging. Runs have been stopped for short gains, no gains, or losses, and though there have been some big runs, there are clearly differences from a year ago. New defensive end William Hayes has helped in that regard, and the defensive tackle play, a concern, has been pretty stout. Vincent Taylor, the rookie 6th-round pick, has made a couple of impressive stops in the running game Wednesday. Great news. Obviously, we have struggled to stop the run in the last 5 seasons. It's been one of the biggest problems of our Dolphins defense. And I think, again, with the additions of William Hayes and the things that we've seen in training camp so far, especially today on Wednesday, is our defensive ends are just setting the edge a whole lot better. And at the age of 35, Cameron Wake looks like he's setting the edge better than he ever had. And obviously, there was a little bit of hyperbole if the young Dolphins defensive tackles are ready to play. But they've been making plays. They've been making a lot of plays. Now, obviously, Mike Pouncey isn't in the lineup, and it would be interesting to see how they perform against him. But overall, the Dolphins' run defense looks a whole lot better. This next report is what Matt Moore had to say about the rookie undrafted free agent receivers. He said, quote, "I think Drew Morgan has done a really nice job coming in, picking up the offense, understanding what he's trying to do," Matt Moore said. "I think Malcolm Lewis has done a good job. They're all working. Those 2 guys have really stood out to me." So this is we've had a great undrafted rookie class come in, especially at the receiver position, even though we really didn't need any receivers. Drew Morgan, obviously, like Matt Moore said, he's actually beginning work with the ones a lot, so I would expect him to make the team because he's just been shining throughout training camp so far, catching touchdowns, doing everything he needs to do to stand out. And then obviously Malcolm Lewis, who can add some special teams value as a returner as well. So those 2 have been very, very, very good for undrafted free agents. And also the Dolphins we've always had great luck with undrafted free agent receivers. If you think of the last, 15 to 20 years, Wes Welker comes to mind, and Devon Best comes to mind. So we've always had good luck with undrafted free agent receivers. Hopefully these 2 can continue the tradition. This next report is concerning Ryan Tannehill's knee, and this report comes from MiamiDolphins.com. Ryan Tannehill's knee continues to be a topic of discussion this offseason, but on Wednesday's practice, he had 2 impressive plays displaying his athleticism. The first play, he took the snap, and Lawrence Timmons was coming right up the middle on a blitz. He avoided the sack to his right, and then proceeded to pick up the first down. On the next play, he rolled out to his right again and picked up a nice 10-yard scramble. So this is great news for Dolphins fans. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation. Can Ryan Tannehill still maintain the athleticism that he's displayed throughout his career? And that's been a big part of his game, is on play-action bootlegs, any kind of thing where we roll him out, sprint outs, anything like that, especially in the red zone. Ryan Tannehill is obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL statistically, throwing on the run. And in my opinion, obviously Tannehill's probably done it more percentage-wise than most quarterbacks do throughout their career, and I don't think there's anybody better at it. And, some of the throws he makes on the run is incredible. So this is great to hear that he still has the athleticism to do some of those sort of things. Some people some people that was a question mark for. So I think those questions have been answered, especially on Wednesday's practice. This next report is concerning Isiah Ford's knee injury. This report comes from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. Gay said he had no update on 7th-round rookie receiver Isiah Ford, who remains out with a knee injury, but it has been reported that he has meniscus damage and is seeking a second opinion. I had high hopes for Isiah Ford coming out of the draft. I thought we stole him in the 7th round. I thought GMs overreacted about the slow 40 time. I still think he can be a pretty decent contributor to good receiver in the NFL, especially where we drafted him. And it's unfortunate that we're not going to see him probably play in the preseason, and hopefully he stays a Dolphin, because I still think he has talent. But it's unfortunate. It really is. This next report is concerning Rashad Jones, and this report comes from the Palm Beach Post. Restraint doesn't come easily to Rashad Jones, and the Dolphins knew it'd be extremely difficult to get him to ease his way back into football once his calf injury healed. They were extra cautious for that reason, and when they turned him loose on the field this morning, he returned with a frenzy. Exited in Week 6 and underwent surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff. The injury is fine, actually, and Jones looked good during organized team activities and minicamp. The recent problem was a calf strain Jones suffered while training on his own during the offseason, and he missed the first 5 practices of training camp because of it. It's great to see Rashad Jones back. He's one of the best players on the team, one of the best safeties in the league, and we missed him dearly last year. That was one of the biggest problems our Dolphins defense faced, and one of the reasons the Dolphins defense statistically was the worst in franchise history. He left a huge hole on that defense. He does so much on this defense. He makes everybody around him better. He elevates talent, and it's great to see him back. And I can't wait to see this defense play together as a group this upcoming season. This next report is detailing some of the biggest plays from Wednesday's training camp. This report comes from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. Tannehill had touchdown throws to Kenny Stills and Jarvis Landry in the red zone work. Nate Allen had a nice breakup of Tannehill's pass to Julius Thomas in the end zone. Matt Moore threw a touchdown to Marquise Gray, beating Michael Thomas. Nelvie Hewitt intercepted Brandon Doughty. Storm Johnson turned the corner for a nice touchdown run. New receiver Jordan Westerkamp had a touchdown near the goal line. Matt Moore made a nifty 30-yard throw to Leonte Carroo, beating Alteron Werner. Running back Davion Smith fumbled after Michael blasted him. Jordan Lucas picked it, and would have returned it for a touchdown if the play continued. Andre Branch had a sack. He's been active all camp. Anthony Steen got some first-team work at left guard, where Ted Larson remains with the first team primarily. So I think the main thing to take out of this is, Leonte Carroo continues to be consistent. That's something he was not in last year's camp. Jordan Lucas continues to make plays throughout training camp. And obviously the receivers, the offense in general has been having a really good training camp so far. So a lot of good news coming out of that. Obviously Neville Hewitt continues to flash greatness throughout training camp. He's made a lot of big plays, man. I'm telling you, if he can just be more physical at the line of scrimmage and shed blocks at a more consistent rate, he can be a Pro Bowl linebacker in this league. Alright, let's do a quick rundown of all the biggest headlines from Miami Dolphins training camp, of Wednesday's training camp. This report comes from the Palm Beach Post. Miami Dolphins running back Jay Ajayi missed practice Wednesday due to a concussion. Dolphin safety Rashad Jones' calf returned to practice and was activated to the roster. Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh were not seen at the start of camp and were receiving a Veterans Day off. Running back Storm Johnson returned to practice. Wide receiver Isiah Ford knee remains out of practice. Not good news for the rookie. Jarvis Landry made a spectacular one-handed catch in passing drills that fans let Landry hear it. Jakeem Grant couldn't haul in a touchdown pass in passing drills. Grant continues to work on his pass-catching consistency. Ryan Tannehill hit Kenny Stills for a touchdown. Running back Damian Williams and defensive tackle Devon Godchaux ran first team. Rashad Jones popped Damian Williams in the backfield in a thud red zone drill. Jones wasted no time getting physically involved in his return from a calf injury. Ryan Tannehill on a designed rollout hit tight end Anthony Fasano for a touchdown. Tannehill seemed to move decently with his knee brace. Rollouts are going to continue to be a key for Ryan Tannehill in 2017. So a lot of great news coming out of Dolphins training camp. The receivers are just playing out of their minds this year. It's insane. So much depth at the receiver position, and they're consistently playing at a high level. It's great. So that has been your Miami Dolphins training camp recap. Let me know what you guys think of some of these reports. And I am Skaggs1383, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let's get through the rigmarole first before we start the podcast. Remember, guys, this podcast posts each and every single Wednesday. The first segment of the show, we go through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. The second segment of the show, we go through all the AFC East news you need to know about. And the third and final segment of the show, we go through the Miami Dolphins fan Q&A.